'Cause I remember when we used to sit in a government yard in Trench Town, observing the hypocrites, yeah. Mingle with the good people we meet. Good friends we have, oh, good friends we lost along the way. In this great future, you can't forget your past. So dry your tears, I say. Yeah. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. Little darling, don't shed no tears. No woman, no cry. Said, I remember when we used to sit in the government yard in Trench Town. And then Georgie would make the firelights, I say. Logwood burning through the night. Then we would cook cornmeal porridge, I say, of which I'll share with you. My feet is my only carriage, and so I've got to push on through. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright now. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright now. Everything is gonna be alright. No woman, no cry. No, no. And no woman, no cry. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Unrelenting Alchemist. All spiritual all the time. Dream invasions and the power of spirit protectors. Imagine the swirling night sky, the faint stars, the soft background hum, and then flashes of red like electrical interference. You see, some dreams, they just aren't dreams. They are invasions, and they don't arrive to entertain you, to teach you anything, or soothe your soul. They come like burglars. They come like assassins, like shadowy saboteurs, slipping into the back of your mind, probing, watching, testing. I've lived with them since middle school. They've always come for me. They've always tormented me. And sometimes it feels like it never really stops until it does. A few nights ago, I had a mental intrusion. And if you can imagine the surreal point of view of me walking down a foggy street with shadowy figures passing by. And so I felt them. I felt the presence. I felt something wasn't right. Something didn't belong. This is not a normal dream. They weren't hiding. They wanted me to feel the tension. They wanted me to feel the pressure. They were inside my mind, digging through my emotions, my memories, my feelings, like a filing cabinet of my consciousness. Perhaps even my Akashic records. And they were looking for something. Or maybe they were trying to destroy something. Me, my peace, my tranquility, my reality, my sense of control. And these weren't just ordinary nightmares. They were spiritual attacks. They were psychic attacks. And I knew what I was dealing with. And as I walked through that street in the dark dream, people passed me by. And a lot of them, the faces I barely remember because they were like extras in a silent film. Until I saw one of my opponents. I saw him. I saw the clown. And he was standing still, and his face was smeared. He had weapons in both his hands. And he turned to look at me to let me know that this fight had begun. Just being in the middle of the street he was, and he wasn't smiling. He was staring through me like a predator sizing up the prey. Like he knew already what 6 feet under me beneath would look like. He started to spin wildly. He started to twirl his two short swords as they were, hacking and slashing in a frenzy. And there were people around us, and he didn't care who he hit. He was slashing. He was cutting. He wasn't just killing. He was erasing. People were swatted down like bugs. And I knew that I was his prey. I was his target, the one he was really after. So I began to back away and retreat. I ran through the crowd, dodging the carnage, feeling my soul vibrating with fight or flight emotions. But I did survive, although, trust me, it wasn't even anything that I got away from quickly. It was very close, and I felt many times like I was on the edge of death. And I didn't wake up grateful for this experience. I woke up angry, and I woke up tired, and I woke up knowing that this was just one of many of these terrible people who have nothing better to do with their lives than to torture others and try to steal everything that is within them. So then the second dream came the next night. Imagine a dimly lit room. Imagine shadowy figures. And it seemed like I was sitting at a computer. What was this next dream? It was a bit more insidious. It was as if I couldn't even control myself. As if they were trying to force me to log into my own financial accounts. I could see the boxes. I could see where the username and password options were there for me to fill in. They were trying to steal from me. They were trying to access something sacred. They were going through my memories like a Rolodex. They were slipping into moments I barely remembered, trying to look for things to hurt me, trying to bait me into typing sacred, precious information, revealing my innermost secrets, passwords, passcodes, anything that could be compromising, anything that could be used as a key. These weren't ordinary dream invaders. They were data miners of the astral realm. Programmed or possessed, I can't say, but I knew what it was, and I woke myself up from it, because when some dreams have a certain effect, I know how to exit them right away. It's not the first time things like that have happened to me. It's also when succubi come into my dreams, and they take on the masks of other people, and they try to force me to sleep with them. And I do the same exact thing, because I know that these people are trying to form bonds, to form contracts, to steal destinies, to steal power. But just as they're about to get away with it, I pull the plug and I wake myself up, because I've become so used to these attacks that I have mental mechanisms that allows me to do so. So then there was last night, which was the final night. And this was a different kind of night. Imagine the pitch blackness. Imagine the gold sparks that start to flicker in the air, and there's an ominous silence and the sound of something shattering. This was the final dream. This was the one that changed everything that I have to tell to you. You see, this time, they were not in control. This time, I was in control. And the night was darker than usual, and it was heavier than usual, but I felt no fear. I felt presence. I felt purpose. One of the invaders had tried to return, another repeat offender, but this time they learned a harsh lesson. This time they did not in any way win. They didn't even make it out. I saw the figure, frozen like a statue, not with ice, but encased in a golden dust. And if you can imagine this golden crystalline dust swirling around this still figure, unable to move, almost as if locked in some sort of frozen scream, so to speak. Their body was paralyzed mid-attack, like a statue. And clearly they were dead. And the person's head had been clearly severed. Even their shoulder and torso, parts of it had been severed. It was a very clean strike. And the gold shimmered within their muscles, their tendons, their blood, their bones. It wasn't truly messy. It was like the person was frozen there. So therefore, nothing was bleeding anywhere. Nothing was further degenerating. But it was extremely revealing. And it wasn't really cruel. It was justice. I didn't do it, you see. Not the way what people would think that I did it. I did it through appealing to the work of my ancestors, my spirit guides, the angels, those we call our spirit protectors. My guardian forces had come for me. My ancestor warriors had come for me. They answered the call. And this person was quickly dealt with. And that's the danger, is that when people continue to mess with people that they don't know what those people are capable of, they can learn a very powerful lesson. So I turned to go home, walking through the night towards my home, which looked dark and still and eerie. And on the front door, on my door to my own home, was the face of the attacker. It had been peeled off, cut off, and pinned like a message. And so here it was, I'm looking at this face. And his face looks like it truly suffered before its end. And so it wasn't bloody, it wasn't grotesque, it was symbolic. It was a symbol of utter defeat. And it was a clear message that this is what happens when you continue to trespass again and again and again. And I knew this wasn't out of my rage. There was no anger over me. It wasn't anything that I felt in that moment as if I somehow had flown into a rage and did it my own strength. It wasn't me. All I did was surrender it to God and surrender it to the angels, surrender it to the ancestors. And they answered. And when they answer, they're not like you and I. There's no mercy to be given. There's no quarter to be drawn. If you're listening to this, if you've ever experienced anything like this, you're not crazy. And you're not imagining this. You are a person who is being spiritually surveilled by your enemies, but you also are being spiritually watched by your people. And you have spiritual protection. The dream world is not just a mental playground, it is a battlefield. When you carry light, you attract forces that want to extinguish that light, forces that hate your light. And they come for you, and they don't knock politely, and the truth is, you are still a warrior. You're not defenseless. You have the spirit of a warrior. You have ancient guardians that are beside you. You have ancestors who will never let you fight alone. You don't always have to do the striking. You just surrender it to those who will do the work for you. They don't want you to get your hands dirty or bloody, because you know what? They want you to have that kind spirit. Leave to them how they will deal with your enemies. And these dream invasions are real, as I said. There are always going to be these individuals walking around in the ethers and the astral, taking advantage of their abilities, making bargains with entities that you and I know to steer clear of. They want to watch you too closely. They want to poke at your pain. They want you to turn to them like they're the only one that can help you, because they want you dependent. They want you stuck. They want you feeling helpless. They want to see you on your last leg. They would love to see you driven mad or driven insane. That's their agenda, to make you look like you are the one who's losing it, like you are the one who can't hold it together, but you have been strong and you've held it together, just like I've been strong and holding it together. You're surviving, and you're aware, and you have the invocation of those who love you and who will protect you in the ethers. You don't need to remain the hunted. You are one of the worst weapons out there, and they made a big mistake coming for you. There's an old saying, different levels, different devils. The stronger your spirit, the more bizarre the attacks, because it doesn't just end with the lower weaklings. As you advance in power, others will come for you that are also very powerful. They're going to come in mass. They may come as clowns. They may come as shadows. They may try to trick you looking like family members, ex-friends, ex-lovers, fake dream characters, asking for your help, but their goal is always the same. Get in, get you to lower your guard, get control, weaken you, make you slowly lose everything. But what they don't expect is that some of us know exactly who we are. This is why you were chosen. You didn't come into this battle without a very particular set of skills. If you've ever watched the movie Taken, you know what I'm talking about. Because your soul can handle it. You were built for the worst. And you were not made to be a victim. You were made to awaken and to be your enemy's worst nightmare. Remember that your dreams are sacred ground. And as you rise in your dreams, you rise in your waking life. When you fight back in those dreams, you carry that power into the day. And so my final words to you are this. Never forget your protectors. Call them in whenever you need. Remember, they love you. They adore you. Call on them. They will help you. You speak to those warrior ancestors. You ask those angels to fortify your mind. You ask for the higher self to set a perimeter. You keep those boundaries. You cleanse your space. You claim your soul. You do not have to suffer silently. And these that are after you will not win. They think they will. They think that maybe they pull a fast one. But they have truly fucked around and they're going to find out. You were born to be light, and that light doesn't shine like fire, it burns. And you came here to rise, and you will not go back to what you were. You will ascend, you will grow stronger, and you will always be radiant, and you will always alchemize things in an unrelenting fashion, because you chose this mission. And so now, they're going to see what a chosen one can do. Your ancestors are behind you, and they're not going to let you go down without a fight. Thank you for joining me in the Sacred Hour. This has been the Unrelenting Alchemist. Remember, walk wisely, walk bravely, and when the dark calls, answer not with fear, but with fire and light. Because they will wish that they had gone somewhere else and that they had never darkened your doorstep, because you can see what the price will be. And if I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I love you.